Oh yeah, is it Tuesday already? Okay, we're gonna finally put this to bed. What's going on with the Ray movie? Is it being delayed? Is it on hold? Will it not release in that usual time release of December 17th, 2026? What is going on with this Ray movie? Also, Taika Waititi, who's supposed to be getting a Star Wars movie, his movie is now indefinitely delayed? We got a lot to talk about when it comes to Star Wars movies today, as we got some Mandalorian and Grogu news to get to as well. So let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon? What's up, chat? This is going to be a fun one. We're talking Ray movie. We're talking Taika movie. We're talking my camera's too low. I got to fix that. Come on. Hang on. Let me just get ready. Oh, now it's too high. Let's just right there. Right there, but perfect. Okay. Much better. All right. How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon, chat? How we feeling? How we feeling, chat? Let's open up the chat so we can see what everybody's talking about. Let's say hi to everybody. And Rexer, what is up? John, how we doing? Officer Murdoch in the house. Mando United, how we doing? Brandon, what is up? Soul, what is up? Christopher, how we doing? Kit Fisto, what is up? Agnes, how we doing? Thomas, what is up? Polly Paul, how we doing? Skywalker Academy, how we doing? Dustin Kennedy in the house. The Hunt, what's up? King Shadow, how we doing? If I didn't get to you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat, but let's just give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
I like to start off my streams a little hectic, you know? I like to settle on in, you know? Okay, so Ray movie news. Is it getting delayed? Is it actually delayed? Is it on hold? What are we really talking about here today? So there's contradicting reports out there. Some people wanting to see this Ray movie just get deleted. A lot of people don't really want to see it at all. A lot of people they're not big fans of the sequel trilogy, if that hasn't been made clear over the last decade. But the Ray movie still is happening. In the delay, well, we'll get to that. First things first, I want to put up a poll in the chat, shall we? Let's do this. And I want to know where you guys are at with this Ray movie. Do you want to see it? Do you not want to see it? Are you excited for it? Are you like, I mean, it's going to be all right? Or are you like, no, I don't want a Ray movie. No. I want to know where you guys are at. So tell me in the chat, and I'm going to put up a poll. Okay. Do you want to see, we'll put it that way, the Ray movie? Yes or no? Let's see it, chat. Do you want to see the Ray movie? Okay. So let's read this, shall we? Actually, first, let's read some chat. Where are we at on this Ray movie? And then we'll get to the articles talking about whether it's canceled, whether it's delayed, whether it's on hold, whether it's on target, and what Daisy Ridley actually has to say, because she has spoken out about this. What do we think, chat? How excited are we? John says, Rise of Skywalker should have been like a 4-hour-long movie broken into 2 parts. Here's my take on the sequel trilogy. You guys know I'm not the biggest fan of the sequel trilogy. It's my least favorite trilogy. However, I'm a fan of The Force Awakens, and I do like certain aspects of the last 2 movies. The Luke Skywalker stuff I still don't like. I think there is an opportunity to make it better with telling the story of Luke Skywalker's fall and his Jedi Temple and all that stuff. But The Rise of Skywalker is like 3 movies in 1. So yes, making it 4 hours would have been a lot better, but it's like all just fast-paced. It's like you're trying to tell so much story in such little time because you're bringing back Palpatine, you're doing all this other stuff. Like, it is a crazy fast-paced, crazy chaotic movie in 3 hours. So yeah, I agree with you, John. It's too short. It should have been the entire trilogy. If Palpatine was back from the beginning, from The Force Awakens, pulling the strings from behind the scenes, it would have been a lot better. But yeah, we're talking Ray movie, though. We're talking Ray movie after 15 years after the events of the sequel trilogy. One day there will be a Ray movie. One day. Dead Mike, what's up? Annie K, how we doing? Yeah. Dead Mike says, no Rey movie, please. Okay. Interestingly enough, 75% of you do say yes to this Rey movie. I'm going to leave the poll up for a little bit, see if it changes. But right now, 75% of you say yes, you want to see this Rey movie. That's interesting. We'll keep it up for a little bit. Universal says, just looked at a website, and both Taika Waititi and Rey's movies are canceled. No. It also says that Sean Levy is now doing Rey's character in this movie. And Chimino Bencino did 4 drafts, and Kathleen Kennedy refused them all. None of this information is true. Now, Charmin is still on for the Rey movie, and Stephen Knight has not gone anywhere. I don't know what website you're looking at, but you might want to find a new source. Darth Raccoon says, 4 minutes late? Such a shame. I know. What the hell? Why are you 4 minutes late? What is up with this? B-Man, what's up? B-Man, what is up? Dead Mike says, sequel trilogy is horrible and I'm not afraid to say it. Well, you shouldn't be afraid to say it, but that is your opinion. Yeah. Aaron says, I want the Rey movie, provided that it's conceptually strong and comes with a clear direction for the future of the Star Wars timeline. Yeah, a lot is riding on, I appreciate the hearts, guys, I do. A lot is riding on this Rey movie for a few reasons. One, it is the first thing after the sequel trilogy, so moving forward past the Skywalker saga, this is the beginning of that. This is what's going to be the future of Star Wars in the future. But also because of the sequel trilogy. A lot of fans, some of you maybe in the chat right now, are not fans of the sequel trilogy, and that's perfectly fine. But there are a lot of good characters in that trilogy. There's a lot of good stories in that trilogy that just need to be helped. It's almost like the Clone Wars in the prequel trilogy. I think the prequel trilogy is perfect the way it is. However, 7 seasons of the Clone Wars definitely helped make it even better than it was. But with the sequel trilogy, I think it does need stories around it, maybe in the middle, but around it, that help the story. Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple, Ben Solo's fall, Palpatine's rise to power, the First Order's rise to power, more Snoke, all before the sequel trilogy. But after the sequel trilogy is just as important. How Rey and Finn and Poe and how those characters continue on, and how their characters maybe interact with Ahsoka or Grogu or Ezra or Cal Kestis or all these other characters that already exist in the canon of Star Wars that fans absolutely adore and love. So a lot is riding on this Rey movie. That's for damn sure. A lot is riding on this Rey movie. It has to be good. It has to be a great script. It has to be a great story. It has to have a good villain. It has to have a good conflict. It has to be good in every aspect to gain all those fans that didn't like the sequel trilogy to come like this movie. And maybe, just maybe, help them like the sequel trilogy as well. So, yeah, I could not agree with that more. This movie has a ton riding on it. Yeah. Inklet, what's up? I'm doing well. How are you? Yeah. Thomas says, well, Daisy Ridley made it clear she hasn't made any hasn't made any offers since Star Wars. Surely that day. Wait, what? That day's enough? LOL. That's not English, Thomas. My answer is yes. I want to see a Rey movie. There you go. The Force Awakens was okay. The other two, meh. Original character assassinations and Finn's character. Oh, original trilogy cast dying. Yeah, that's a big problem. Is obviously people didn't want to see their favorite characters die. At some point, Han, Luke, and Leia were going to die, but it's kind of the way they did it, and fans weren't the biggest fans of that. Plus, there's this giant missing piece to these 3 characters' stories, and that is the middle. You have the beginning with Luke as a farm boy coming with Obi-Wan to become a Jedi, and then becomes a Jedi Knight, and then becomes a Jedi Master. But we don't see that middle part of what happens, why Han and Leia divorce, and Ben Solo's rise, and all that. We don't see it. So we just get the beginning and an end. And many people didn't like to see the end. They wanted the middle. Yeah. Star Wars for Life in the chat. What's up, Star Wars for Life? How we doing? Kit Fizzo says, I'm actually really excited about the Rey movie, but at the same time, I don't want it to be a bad movie. To continue the cycle of the Jedi and the Sith, and then the Jedi, and then the Sith, and then the Jedi, and then the Sith. Yeah, I mean, we had Ahsoka Season 1 with Baylan Skoll talking about how he's going to stop the cycle. The cycle of Sith ruling, Jedi ruling, Sith ruling, Jedi ruling. I wonder how that's going to play out, if that does have to do with Abeloth, if Abeloth will play a role in the Rey movie. We'll get to all of that in a little bit. But first things first, let's talk about this Rey movie news. Is it being canceled? Is it being delayed? Blah-bitty bloobity blah. Let's talk about it. Okay. So we're going to read this article first from the Inverse. And this is talking about the delays, the news that has been going around for the last couple days about this movie being on hold, how it's been delayed, all that. And then we're going to kind of debunk this. So let's just read this article first, shall we? There's Daisy Ridley herself with a very surprised look on her face. And it says, Star Wars has a major sequel problem. Major sequel problem. Can the franchise please move forward? Another day, another rumor of a Star Wars project being delayed or perhaps even shut down entirely. According to a tidbit from industry insider Daniel Richtman. Okay, let's talk about Richtman for a second here. Daniel Richtman's usually a very, very good source. Well, you guys can't see this. Somebody tell me in the chat if you can't see the freaking words I'm reading. God! Okay. Daniel Richtman's usually a pretty good source. Yes, he's been wrong in the past, but he tends to be a very good source when it comes to industry insider news. So the source it's coming from is a typically good one, but he might just be wrong this time. Okay? Lucasfilm will not be shooting the Rey movie, the Rey-centric Star Wars New Jedi Order this year, in that the project is reportedly on hold until the script shakes out. Like all Star Wars rumors, we should take this one with a Sarlacc-sized grain of salt. Never heard that one before. That doesn't even make sense. Sarlacc is a pit. Wouldn't it make more sense if it was like a Rancor? I don't know. Because there has been no confirmation one way or another on when this movie will start production. A movie can't be delayed if its release time was never really made clear. So let's talk about that first things first. Yes, we know for a fact. Let's talk about some facts, shall we? We know for a fact that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will release on May 22nd, 2026. That is a fact. We also know for a fact that there's a second movie coming out in 2026, and that release date will be December 17th of 2026. That is also a fact. However, the movie that releases on December 17th, 2026, it's not a fact that it's going to be the Rey movie. Right now, it's an untitled Star Wars film. That's all we know. An untitled Star Wars film will release on December 17th, 2026. So we can assume that the next Star Wars movie after The Mandalorian and Grogu is the Rey movie. But that's an assumption. That's us predicting. That's not a fact. So the opening paragraph of this article here says, how can a movie be delayed when it never had a release date in the first place? It makes a good point, but it technically would still be a delay because most fans, myself included, do believe that this Rey movie will be released on December 17th of 2026. And although that hasn't been made a fact yet, it still would technically, in my own head, be a delay. However, I don't think it is, because it's still going to release on December 17th, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's keep reading. However, it's been a full year, over a full year, since Star Wars Celebration 2023 revealed the existence of Daisy Ridley's Rey movie. Hang on. Okay. It's been a whole year. And recently, the only Star Wars film to get any actual release date is The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is currently filming and scheduled to hit theaters on May 22nd, 2026. That is a fact. But according to Daisy Ridley, as recently as September of this year, which is the month we are currently in right now, chat, she hasn't seen any actual script for New Jedi Order. though she has stressed that the idea pitched to her is a story worth telling. So we're going to get the next article I have is about what Daisy Ridley had to say about this movie, and we'll get to that. But let's focus on this first. While we don't know what the story is yet, the last decade of new Star Wars projects has taught us something about the state of the Force, of the Force legitimate sequels. Stories that push Star Wars forward in its chronologically, seem to be the hardest thing for the franchise to pull off. But why? So moving the franchise forward, at least in the ways of chronologically, meaning we've moved the story of Star Wars forward in different ways. Star Wars Rebels, Andor, Rogue One, Solo, Acolyte, Clone Wars, Bad Batch, all those projects take place before the original trilogy. Stuff that happens after the original trilogy doesn't seem to be met with as great of a exception, or I should say, reaction from the Star Wars fandom, like the sequel trilogy. So, Star Wars has few actual sequels. Of the 11 theatrical releases of live-action Star Wars films, only 5 are true sequels in chronological sense. We've when we brought in the scope that includes other Star Wars movies like the non-canon Ewok film and the first Clone Wars animated film, we are also dealing with stories that take place as in the pre-existing chronology. There you go. If you zoom out even more and factor in all the different TV series, then you find that all of these shows are in the gap between events of the 3 film trilogies. Yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi is a sequel to Revenge of the Sith, but it is also a prequel to A New Hope. It's a midquel. That's pretty funny. Between those 2 trilogies, ditto to The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. So you could perhaps view Ahsoka as a kind of sequel to Mando and Rebels, but Mando is a midquel and Rebels is very much a prequel. Are you with me so far? Okay. So most things that are projects from Star Wars are usually prequels or this so-called midquel, and not many things are actually sequels. We're not really moving forward in the Star Wars story because when they do, it's not really met well with the Star Wars audience. In fact, the release of The Force Awakens was positively transgressive, okay, in 2025 simply because it was a plain old sequel, the first of its kind since 1983. And other than The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, precisely 0 other new Star Wars projects since then, from Rogue One to Acolyte to the upcoming Skeleton Crew show, have been sequels. Everything released in the Star Wars pantheon now is wedged into the existing timeline, including the next film, The Mandalorian and Grogu, which takes place in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Hence, the awkward CGI de-aged Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2 and The Book of Boba Fett, not to mention Ahsoka's clumsy sending C-3PO to do Princess Leia's bidding in Ahsoka. Don't agree with this at all. First of all, the de-aged Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian Season 2 and The Book of Boba Fett is fan-freaking-tastic! But yeah, what? But I would have loved to see Princess Leia in Ahsoka, not gonna lie. Yeah. All contemporary Star Wars projects hover at the edge of the familiar content to create sideways continuity, sure, and new points of view rather than just move the story forward. So obviously a big thing when it comes to Star Wars projects nowadays is nostalgia. From Luke Skywalker showing up in The Mandalorian to, of course, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show being about Obi-Wan and Anakin, every single Star Wars project kind of relies some way, somehow on nostalgia. And most fans love it. You're going to sit here and tell me that Luke Skywalker showing up in The Mandalorian Season 2 wasn't awesome? Ahsoka having Anakin in the World Between Worlds not being awesome? The fight between Vader and Obi-Wan not being awesome? So we eat it up because it's great. Seeing those familiar faces that we know and love is fun to see. But there's a difference here. Getting new stories, getting sequels with new characters that explore the Star Wars galaxy more without having to rely on that nostalgia stuff. That is something that's extremely important. And even the sequel trilogy relied on nostalgia. Han and Chewie coming on the Millennium Falcon. Chewie, we're home? Seeing Luke Skywalker back as the cliffhanger for The Force Awakens. Like, they rely on nostalgia so much in new Star Wars content, it almost needs to stop. Let's keep reading. The Rey movie is the only hope. Here we go. So this was at Star Wars Celebration when they brought Daisy Ridley out on stage. Yeah. This character right behind her, actually, is from Rogue One. He has the longest name in Star Wars. I could not tell you what it is off the top of my head, but it is the longest name in Star Wars. Okay. As it stands, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy's new Jedi Order, this is Sharmeen, by the way, right there, is the only major Star Wars project that takes place in a future beyond the events of The Rise of Skywalker. It's the only one. Whether or not we'll eventually get the movie that Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy and Kathleen Kennedy pitched to Daisy Ridley is unclear, but some kind of sequel to Episode 9 is crucial. From a storytelling point of view, Star Wars has become more reliant than most big franchises on its own past stories. There has never really been a true Star Wars reboot, so to speak. We're not talking about rebooting the sequel. I mean, the prequels or the originals or the sequels. We're not rebooting anything, but talking about meaning the aesthetic, the canon, the all this stuff, kind of rebooting it. A sequel in which the rules of the Force, the future of the Jedi, the state of the galaxy are wide open. And it's inherently exciting. It's endless possibility. It's new Force abilities. It's new Jedi. It's new Force users. It's a new government that controls the galaxy. It's all this new stuff. It's new, not reliant on the old. So, it's also just healthy from a narrative standpoint. While The Force Awakens was a positive step into the new kind of Star Wars future, the storytelling also reverted to the state of the galaxy back to a similar status quo of the original trilogy. The Resistance versus the First Order wasn't too different from the Rebellion versus the Empire. Clearly, there was a lot of similarities between The Force Awakens and A New Hope. That gets brought up time and time again in the Star Wars fandom. A sequel that is set after all of that, which is focused on Jedi in this new age, is exciting, simply because we can't really predict where that story will take us or how it will feel. We've talked about this a little bit. Now, before we finish this article, we've talked about this a little bit before. We don't know what the Rey movie will be about. But because we don't know, it's almost nearly impossible to predict it, because we don't have anything to go off of, except for the fact Rey exists. We don't know who the villain's going to be. We don't know what the status of the galaxy looks like after the First Order fell, after the Republic fell. We don't know where all these other characters are going to be, from Finn to Rose to Poe, and we don't know if the Sith are really gone because Palpatine's dead. Like, we really don't know anything about the current state of the galaxy in this time period after the sequel trilogy. When you get a project announced like the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, or Skeleton Crew, or even the Acolyte, you know what the state of the galaxy looks like during that time period before you even get the project. We know Skeleton Crew is this time period between the originals and the sequels. We know that the New Republic is in charge of the galaxy, but they don't fully extend to the Outer Rim. There's a lot of pirates going around. It's going to be about pirates mostly. Mandalorian and Grogu's in a similar spot. He's in the Outer Rim. There's going to be a lot of pirates. There's going to be Thrawn, who's rising to power as the heir to the Empire, but the New Republic is still in charge. You look at the Acolyte. We knew that the Jedi were the High Republic era, and we knew that there was Sith, but they weren't around. They weren't known to people. There was Plagueis, but he wasn't known to the Jedi. But when it comes to this Rey movie, we don't know anything, and that's exciting, but also concerning, because it could go really poorly, but it also could go really well and introduce a bunch of brand new characters and a bunch of brand new ideas to the Star Wars galaxy. But let's finish off this article, shall we? Star Wars needs to be brave and innovative if it's going to survive. Certainly, The Acolyte and Andor have given us elements of innovation and exciting new takes on pre-established events. Yet, these complex shows still deal with the past. Star Wars needs to take its focus off the beloved sacred timeline, so to speak, and break new grounds in the future. We need Star Wars to do what Kylo Ren told us to do. Yes, let the past go. Kill it if you have to. But what's interesting here is Andor and The Acolyte are the two examples of innovation in the Star Wars timeline of pre-existing events. Here comes the issue with this. The Rey movie is already set up for failure, so to speak, because online, the Star Wars fandom is already losing their shit, not wanting to see this story because of the character of Rey, because it's an extension of the sequel trilogy. For one reason or another, they don't want to see this project. Maybe because it's a new, innovative thing. The same can be said about Andor in The Acolyte, more so The Acolyte than Andor, but both projects fit under this umbrella. They're both innovative new takes on the Star Wars galaxy, even though they take place in and around the Skywalker saga. Andor and The Acolyte. What do these two shows have in common? Chat, any idea? Other than the fact that they're complete opposites, one's about Jedi, Sith, Force, the other one's about everything but that. What do these two shows have in common? It's not a good thing. What do we think, chat? What do we think?
This is where the fun begins.
What do these two have in common? Nobody? They're good? Oh, okay, well, yeah. I guess they're good, yes. I guess that's true. They technically, they're good, yes. Chris got it. Low viewership. They're the two lowest Star Wars shows of all time. The two lowest Star Wars shows ever created. Lowest viewed. Is that because they are innovative? They're different stories than what we've seen before? Maybe. Do Star Wars fans just not want to see something new? Possibly. It's not... I might sound crazy, but it's the reality here. You have a show like The Mandalorian. Introduces a character that's a baby version of Yoda, a fan favorite character. Not only does it bring in legacy characters like Luke and Bo-Katan and Boba Fett, it plays to the love of Star Wars fans, to the original trilogy. It feels like you're walking into the cantina on Tatooine in A New Hope. That's what it feels like. When you watch The Mandalorian Season 1 especially, it has that dirty underworld cantina vibe of A New Hope. So it brings people back to what they remember Star Wars being. The problem then becomes, is there a way to create something new that isn't going to be met with low viewership numbers? Fans complaining about one thing or another? It's a never-ending cycle here with the Star Wars fandom, and it's just going to continue. Andor's met with bricks and screws. It's met with low viewership. The Acolyte's met with Did the Acolyte really ever get a name? I don't think so. But it's met with quite insane divisiveness in the Star Wars fandom, coming in at 13% on an audience score before it even releases. And of course, it got canceled before a second season even got greenlit. So, innovation, new storytelling, even in or around the Skywalker saga, is getting met with just absolute hate, absolute low viewer numbers. From a business perspective, you're looking at it from a business perspective from Disney or Lucasfilm, this is not the way you want to go. So the Rey movie has even more on its shoulders now, being the third chance or third attempt to do something new in Star Wars. I guess the fourth attempt if you count the sequel trilogy. So you have The Acolyte, you have Andor, and you have the sequel trilogy. 3 misses. I love Andor. Andor's fan-freaking-tastic. Can't wait for season 2. I like The Acolyte quite a bit. The sequel trilogy, not as much, but 2 out of 3 for me. A lot of you guys probably love the sequel trilogy as well. But it seems as though, from a business perspective, those 3 attempts at leaving what Star Wars fans know and love, which is the prequel trilogy era to the original trilogy era, were misses. So now, more than ever, the Rey movie has so much riding on it. So much. In very similar to The Acolyte, it's already getting met with a divide in the Star Wars fandom before it's even released. We're 2 years away from its being released, and it's already met with a divide in the Star Wars fandom. I understand not liking the character of Rey, but what about not being open to a new story in Star Wars or a new time period in Star Wars? I don't know. It's a very hard thing when you're in charge of a big franchise like Star Wars. What do you do? Because some new aspects of Star Wars, when you look at new and bold things brought into Star Wars, when George Lucas was in charge or when he wasn't, when you look at the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars, it's absolutely bonkers. They go to this unknown place called Mortis, where there's these gods who control the light side, dark side, and the balance between the Force. Anakin sees his whole future about becoming Darth Vader. Obi-Wan sees his master as a Force ghost. Ahsoka dies and is brought back to life. And yet they leave Mortis and don't remember any of it. In season 6, Yoda goes on this crazy voyage to learn to become a Force ghost. He talks to a Force vision, or whatever you want to call it, of Darth Bane. Like, there's some crazy ass stuff that's been introduced to Star Wars. The world between worlds. Like, there's some really crazy stuff. But that stuff has been introduced with characters that fans know and love. With Anakin's, Obi-Wan's, Ahsoka's. With Ahsoka in the world between worlds as well. Ezra. Like, people love those stories, and it just so happens that it takes place in the Skywalker saga. So it's doing cool, new, innovative things, but with characters that people already know and love. So maybe there's just a balance between the two of them. Maybe the Rey movie has to have Ahsoka in it, has to have Grogu in it to make it fly, to make it get some views, to make it make some money. But it's more so about the storytelling. Rey movie needs to be incredible. Needs to be undoubtedly, undeniably a well-written, great movie. Even if you hate with every bone in your body, hate the character of Rey, you cannot deny that the movie is well written. That's the goal. That's what needs to happen. Because however the galaxy looks during this Rey movie is going to be how this galaxy looks moving forward into the future past the Rey movie for a long time. I get comments all the time about we need to just let the past die, Kylo Ren it, let the past die, and move forward. Even if you go 100, 200 years past the sequel trilogy, just move forward. I don't agree with that. I want to see Old Republic content. I want to see Dawn of the Jedi content. I want to see High Republic content. But there's definitely something to it. There's definitely something to moving past everything, going forward into the future. The possibility of new things and not going backwards. Because when you go backwards, it's hard to introduce something new. Think about it. If the Acolyte did introduce Cortosis, which was awesome. I mean, Cortosis already existed, but you know what I mean. But if you go back to, let's say, the Old Republic, and you introduce something, a new Force ability that's absolutely bonkers, like it's so cool, like it's awesome, but it doesn't make sense because by the time of the Skywalker saga, the Jedi aren't using that Force ability. The Sith aren't using that Force ability. So it's kind of like, what happened? Then you have to kind of make a story about why it went away or whatever. You have to kind of plug in the plot holes. If you go into the future and introduce a new Force ability, then there's just a new Force ability that just got invented. Like, there's no filling in gaps or trying to cover your ass because it didn't exist. It didn't exist, and it didn't have to exist because it exists now, and it can exist moving forward. That's why the Rey movie's so important. If anything came across in that crazy rant I just went on, it's that the Rey movie has so much riding on it and is so important to what the future of Star Wars content is going to look like past the sequel trilogy. The future of Star Wars in general, really. Yeah. I did see I just missed the super chat, though, so let me scroll back up here. Okay. Darth Plagueis lives. What's up with a very generous $2 holla? I appreciate it. 10th ever super chat? Oh, my God. Says, I hope the Rey movie has Jedi Finn and Ben Solo. Me too. I mean, we can get into what this Rey movie will be about in a little bit after we get through this news. But yeah, I mean, if you want it to be a success, a lot of fans were really hurt by the way that Finn was treated in the sequel trilogy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So bringing Finn back with John Boyega would be a very feel-good moment. And if he gets to be a Jedi, that will please a lot of fans, myself included. And bringing back Ben Solo is an interesting conversation to have. Do you mean as a Force ghost or actually bring him back to life? Because those are two very different things and could be met with very different reactions from the audience. But I appreciate the Super Chat nonetheless. Super Chats are very, very nice. And keep the lights on over here. And of course, as you guys know, I will do any Star Wars impression, for any amount of Super Chat. So I appreciate it. Okay, let's read this next article, though, because this one is talking about Daisy Ridley as she finally chimes in about what the hell is going on. So let's read this. So with the news of all these delays and everything, we go to Daisy Ridley herself. We go to the source herself to talk about this. So there she is. Daisy Ridley felt her Star Wars return is a story worth telling. When asked about the forthcoming Star Wars project set 15 years after the events of the sequel trilogy, Daisy Ridley has stated that she believes that now is the right time for her to make her return to the franchise that turned her into a household name. It is funny how Star Wars can do that. Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, not as much. He was in a lot of other stuff before that. But it takes these nobodies and turns them into somebodies. Even Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, again, he was in American Graffiti, but American Graffiti was not that big of a movie. It was a big movie, but not that big of a movie. It didn't make him this household name like Star Wars did, and of course Indiana Jones too. But Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, even the prequel trilogy. Ewan McGregor was one of them again who did Train Spotting. People kind of knew his name. But Hayden Christensen, nobody. Natalie Portman, nobody. So Star Wars has a crazy way of making these actors and actresses household names. Talking to the French film publication, Premiere. Interesting. Daisy Ridley explained that she was initially pitched the concept for a story instead of a full treatment being written at the time she initially entered talks returning to make another Star Wars film. She quickly agreed to make the movie, which she believes to be a story worth telling. So she agreed to hop on this movie before she even read a script, which usually is not how things work out. But in this case, because she heard of the story, it was so good that she signed back on. So let's see what she has to say about that. They simply asked if I wanted to do it based on an idea without the script being written yet. But if I hadn't been convinced by the concept, the movie wouldn't have been made. I took a day to think about it, and I told myself that I had a great time making those films, the sequel trilogy films. This new adventure seems fun to me, so why say no? My thoughts on the subject are quite simple. If I didn't think the story was worth telling, I wouldn't have come back. So Daisy Ridley knows, obviously, what happened to her career, but also what happened to her just because of the sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy obviously made her a household name, but was that a good thing or a bad thing? Some people are really don't like the sequel trilogy and are very vocal about it. And that's not always fun as an actor or an actress. So she had to know for sure that this story was going to be good enough to come back and tell it. And her believing that it is gives me some hope. We'll put it that way. And by the way, still 65% of you guys do want to see this Rey movie. It is going down, but we'll see where it ends at. The film is set in this post-Rise of Skywalker era known as the New Jedi Order era, not to be confused with the Legends storyline of the same name that follows Luke Skywalker, not Rey, and is tentatively being referred to by the same name. It will explore the future of the galaxy far, far away after the definitive defeat of the Sith, with, of course, Palpatine dying at the end of Rise of Skywalker. The fall of the First Order and the uncertain future that it represents for the Jedi, now led by Rey Skywalker. Appropriately enough, Daisy Ridley noted that right around the time that she was having conversations about this film, a fan was asking her about where the character's story might go next. She said this: 2 people told me in the same week that they'd love to know what Rey is up to now. I had no idea that there was so much interest. People really love Rey. I think this new movie, will be exciting and will move the franchise forward in an interesting way. That's pretty good to hear. To move the franchise forward in an interesting way. That's kind of what it's all about here. It's moving the franchise forward, yes, obviously, but new ideas, interesting concepts. That's what we're looking for here. By the way, full just off-topic thing. See it on the side of my screen here, if you can kind of see there. Did anybody see the Thunderbolts trailer? Give me a 1 into the chat if you saw that Thunderbolts trailer from Marvel yesterday. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. How about that Thunderbolts trailer? I mean, talk about getting hyped up for something. I was not looking forward to that movie at all, and that trailer got me so much more excited for it. Okay, completely off topic, but let's keep going. She also stated that over a decade of being in the spotlight since her casting in The Force Awakens, she believes that the pressure of starring in a new film with the character is potentially much easier than it was back then, as there's less of a burden on her with the expectation that experience that she's gained. Time has passed and things have calmed down. I have more perspective on all of this now. I know how it all works, so it will definitely be easier to manage the second time around. I'm also in a very different position. I was 21 when I did the first one, and now I'm 32. Oh, that makes sense. I was going to say, what? That math is not mathing, but it does. It does. And I have a lot more experience on set. It's really exciting to imagine how my current life will affect the character. So obviously it's a lot older. She's a lot older, and the character's a lot older, and we'll get to see how that works in a storytelling sort of perspective here. So this is Daisy Ridley's take on all this. She never says anything about where production's at, if she's read a script or not. She doesn't talk about when filming's going to begin. She doesn't say any of that. However, you have one article saying that it's been put on hold from Daniel Rickman, talking about this news that it's been on hold. It's not going to film till 2025, blah, 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 blah. Then you have Daisy Ridley, who's just talking straight up positivity about this movie. Nothing bad, no delays, no nothing. But I got a third article for us. I got a third article today, and here it is. The title of it being, No, the Rey New Jedi Order movie hasn't been canceled or delayed. So let's read this. This is the most recent of the articles of today. The first one we read was from a day ago. This one was from a day ago, I think, too. Yeah, yesterday. And this one's from 6 hours ago. This one's coming from 6 hours ago, and this seems to be where I've been at for the last week. Since this news has been going around about there being delays and all that stuff, this is where I've been. I don't believe any of it. Not a single bit of it. And here's why. Let's read this and find out. Rumors are flying that Rey's upcoming Star Wars movie, thought to be titled Star Wars New Jedi Order. I don't think this is going to be the title. This is just a working title for now. But tell me in the chat, what do you want the title for the Rey movie to be? It's going to either be delayed or canceled, but neither has been confirmed by Disney. The New Jedi Order movie is one of several upcoming Star Wars movies that has been one of the most heavily marketed, perhaps second only to the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie. New Jedi Order is confirmed to be set 15 years after the events of Rise of Skywalker, blah, 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 blah. In fact, in interviews, Rey Skywalker's actress, Daisy Ridley, has indicated that she hasn't yet seen a script. We talked about this. Okay. Lucasfilm never officially confirms that when Rey movie would come out. So this is kind of talking about what we were talking about earlier. Arguably the most important point to dispel these rumors is that Lucasfilm never officially announced a release date for New Jedi Order. This inherently means that it cannot be delayed. Initially, many believed that it would be the first Star Wars film to come out on May 22nd, 2026. But now it's been confirmed that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be on that release date. Then most assumed that New Jedi Order would be on the next release date, which is December 18th. Damn, I've been saying 17th. 18th, 2026. That is, however, an assumption. So, let's read this. Perhaps because the Mandalorian Grogu movie and New Jedi Order have been most openly marketed, many assume that it would make sense that the New Jedi Order movie would be the next date in the lineup. However, without confirmation from Lucasfilm, that remains entirely speculative. It's possible that New Jedi Order was instead always slated for December 17th of 2027, a year later. Lucasfilm has not yet decided on a date for that movie either. There's no way to know without an official announcement from Lucasfilm. However, there's still plenty of time to make a new Jedi Order movie for Rey. Realistically, even with the December 2026 release date, which again is unconfirmed, it could be the 2027 one, there's no reason to believe that the new Jedi Order movie is behind schedule. Assuming that December 18th, 2026 date is reserved for the Rey movie, it still gives Lucasfilm more than 2 years to film, to make this film. By comparison, The Rise of Skywalker began filming in August of 2018, and the movie was released in December of 2019. So that was only a year and 4 months? It took a year and 4 months to make Rise of Skywalker? So by that math, a year and 4 months would mean they wouldn't have to start filming this Rey movie until August of next year. Yes, it takes a long time to make a movie. A year and a half, year and 4 months, that's a long time. But when you think about it versus a show is almost like 2 or 3 movies. It's usually 8 episodes. It's usually about 5 to 6 hours. A movie is just 2 hours or 2.5. At most 3. That's less than half of what it takes to make a show. So it should take less time to create a movie. Obviously, CGI takes a long time. The post-production usually takes longer than the filming itself. But now with the technology of course, pre-production and the volume, they do a lot of stuff beforehand as well. It's very possible that this Rey movie, it's not getting delayed at all. It's not being put on hold either. It's going to start filming next year, and it will still meet this December 2026 release date, if that's where it's going to release at least. Clearly, Star Wars has worked on much tighter deadlines. Yes, New Jedi Order still seems to be in the early stages of development, as Ridley has stated. However, the 2 years or possibly more before New Jedi Order's release still gives Lucasfilm plenty of time to finalize a script and begin filming. In fact, rumors are seemingly the name of the game when it comes to this movie, as there are plenty indicating that the film is set to begin filming in 2025. Again, suggesting that the movie still remains on track. So yes, the big sort of rumor, the big sort of report was that the Rey movie has been delayed. It's been put on hold until 2025. But wasn't that always the plan? The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is filming right now, and it's going to film until probably the end of the year, at least until November. So the Rey movie's going to start filming next year. That's what makes sense. It doesn't come out for another 2 years. So no, it's not delayed. No, it's not on hold. First of all, it's never been given a release date. But second of all, I still think it will be released on December 18th, 2026. It's not been delayed. It's not been on hold. It's going to film next year. It's been going to film next year, and it will most likely film next year. So that's sort of the news of this Rey movie. That's it. It's just contradicting reports of whether it's been delayed, whether it's been canceled, whether it's just been put on hold till next year. It's just a lot of people trying to get a lot of attention. That's what it is. That's what it seems to be. This movie is right on track still, with over 2 years until it's possibly going to release. Yeah. So that's the Rey news. What do we think, chat? What do we think? Your pal Joe, what is up? Says, oh, sweet. We don't have Chili's up here, but I got Chick-fil-A, though. What the hell are you talking about? Do I have to go get Chick-fil-A now? Anthony, what's up? Says, here's my take. They were written by two people who weren't necessarily Star Wars fans and not a part of George Lucas's creative brain trust. Well, George Lucas's creative brain trust kind of went out the window when he sold the company. I understand that, obviously, Dave Filoni is the apprentice to George Lucas, but, even he's not George Lucas. Darth Tedious, great name, by the way, says, I want John Boyega to show up in the second Rey movie. Rey hands him a lightsaber, and he tosses it over his shoulder and tells her, I am no Jedi. The fandom wants him to train, but I'm too old. But I'm too old? Oh, wants me to train, but I'm too old. Oh, gotcha. Hilarious. Yeah, I'm sure John Boyega will come back for this movie. I mean, they'll throw all the money they can to get him back. It would just be so much better if that's what's going on. I can't imagine this Rey movie without John Boyega at this point, Officer Murdoch says, maybe there are not as many hardcore Star Wars fans. You're saying because, like, those more innovative projects like Andor and Acolyte and such, they don't get as many views because there's not as many hardcore fans? That could be an argument. That's definitely an argument that could be made. There's also the case of older fans. A lot of Star Wars fans from the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy now have kids or grandkids that they want to show Star Wars. But the Star Wars they're going to show them is the ones that they love, the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy or the Clone Wars. And usually that's not going to be the newer stuff. So you might be onto something there where either older fans or normie fans that don't watch everything, the same way that the Star Wars animated shows don't get as many views as the live action ones. Yeah, you could be onto something there, for sure. Yeah. John says, so because of low views, I have to watch more of just them. I have to watch more just to make up for those who didn't like it. I have to watch it more. Oh, yes, you do. If you want Acolyte Season 2, if you want more projects like Andor, you just got to go watch it on repeat. Make up for all the people who didn't watch it. Yeah. Ian says, we're going to have to get over the nostalgia fetish if this franchise is to survive. Here's the thing. I love nostalgia as much as the next guy. Anakin showing up in Ahsoka is awesome. Luke showing up in The Mandalorian is fantastic. Seeing Plagueis in The Acolyte. But I agree. As much as I love seeing those characters, at some point, a new character that's introduced becomes those characters. Think of it this way. Star Wars had been around for 30 years, 31 years, and Ahsoka Tano gets introduced. So for 31 years, Star Wars fans have no idea who the character of Ahsoka Tano is. However, she's introduced as Anakin's Padawan. She quickly becomes a fan favorite character over the course of 5, 6, 7 Clone Wars seasons. And then she gets brought into live action. And now she becomes the nostalgic character. Episode 5 of Clone Wars Season 2 it might be my favorite of that season. The Jedi, when Ahsoka gets introduced and we learn Grogu's name. But Ahsoka's not technically a legacy character like a Luke Skywalker or an Anakin. She's so much more of a new character. Same can be said about Ezra showing up in Ahsoka, because that was so great for me, because I'm a huge Rebels fan. But Rebels is only 10 years old. So I agree with you that nostalgia shouldn't be the whole basis of what you're creating a project around. Absolutely not. But having nostalgic aspects to a project isn't always a bad thing. And at some point, the new characters that you introduce are going to become that nostalgic sort of component. Think about it this way. In a couple of years, hopefully, whether we get an Acolyte Season 2 or not, Kymir's character will show up in something. Obviously, he's not going to live till the Skywalker saga. He's not going to live to be hundreds of years old. Maybe he will. I don't know. But he'll be in something. Maybe they'll make a Plagueis a show or whatever. I don't know. But he will show up in something. In Manny Jacinto coming back to play Kymir, for fans who loved that guy in The Acolyte, is going to feel like, not to the same level, but still feel like, we'll give it a better example. It'll feel more like Bo-Katan showing up in live action in The Mandalorian Season 2. Not really as big as Luke Skywalker or Anakin, but it will feel that nostalgic pull of Kymir back in Star Wars. Just like all these other characters come back in Star Wars, like Boba Fett and Bo-Katan and all that. So, but still, Kymir was just created this year as a character. You know? Just created this year. So at some point, your new characters become old ones, and that becomes nostalgia. So there's kind of a weird line between what makes a character or what makes something just fan service or nostalgic. That becomes the issue. If the Rey movie happens and it has all these brand new ideas, brand new galaxy, brand new Jedi Order, brand new bad guy, brand new all this, but Finn still shows up, but maybe a Force Ghost of Luke makes an appearance, that's nostalgic. That's fan service, but it's still good. It's still awesome. It's still fun, cool, new stuff. So there's a weird line between that, but heavily focusing on just nostalgic projects just for nostalgic's sake, yeah, that can't be it, you know? Shouldn't be it. Navarro says, I hope they will still create new stuff. Oh, they absolutely will. It just will become less and less and less if it keeps getting met with the approach of Andor or The Acolyte, you know? If every new project that they make is met with the lowest viewer numbers that they've ever had and is met with a divide in the Star Wars fandom, then they're probably going to stop doing it. So just like Andor is met with a divide in the lowest viewership ever, and then followed up by Acolyte, which is met with a divide, crazy divide in lower viewership. If the Rey movie does the same, if the Rey movie doesn't even make $1 billion, which it should, it absolutely should, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And then it becomes a problem more and more and more and more and more and more and more until we're faced with the reality that we're just not going to be getting any new Star Wars content anymore. Or at least new in the sense of outside the Skywalker saga. Amanda, what's up? Says Disney should stop announcing projects until they have a script and are ready to film. They already own enough other franchises to make money. Speaking too early means asking impatient people to wait. That is true. Myself included. We're very impatient people. I want it now. I want it now. In announcing something that is only just inevitably going to get delayed or canceled is probably not the best bet. The problem with that, though, becomes the business side of owning the company of Lucasfilm and owning the company of Disney. Because you have stockholders that you need to please. So, yes, you have other IPs like Marvel and Pixar that are fairly successful. I mean, Inside Out 2 made $2 billion this year. Deadpool and Wolverine made over $1 billion this year. They have other successful franchises. But Lucasfilm itself needs to provide exciting announcements and hope for the future for investors. So the fact that Disney is a publicly traded company means that they have to please these investors. That's why things like Star Wars Celebration and D23 exist. Yes, it's for fans and to get fans excited for upcoming projects. That's for sure part of it. But another part of it is to please the stockholders, is to show the stockholders, look, we're doing this. We're going to be making this so that you make more money. I agree with you that they shouldn't be announcing projects that they don't intend on completing or don't intend on creating, but at some point, they do. They do intend on creating these movies and shows. And that brings us perfectly great transition, Amanda, to Taika Waititi's movie. Let's talk about this, shall we? Taika Waititi's Star Wars film. Now, many people have been talking about this because it got announced in 2019, I believe. Is it 2019? That's insane. I think it was 2019. Okay. But with that, let's read this, shall we? So, also coming from Daniel Rickman, again, take it with a giant grain of salt. Taika Waititi's movie has been reportedly indefinitely on hold. So, it's not saying here that Taika Waititi's movie is canceled. No. Not even saying that it's not in the works or anything like that. It's on hold indefinitely. Now, indefinitely doesn't mean forever. It means until it's not anymore. So indefinite means there's no definitive time where it's going to be off of hold. So it could be tomorrow, it could be in 10 years, or it could be anywhere in between. That's what indefinite means. We don't know. It's not defined. So a little backstory on Taika's movie. It got announced 5 years ago. And since it got announced, we haven't really gotten many updates, except for from Taika himself, who has come out a few times and said, yeah, I'm still working on it. I'm still writing the script. You know, I'm working on some other stuff, but I'm working on it. I'm still working, you know, I'm working on it. Other than that, nothing. And fans, I mean, this comes sort of to the James Mangold of it all, because James Mangold is currently going to be writing and directing the Dawn of the Jedi movie. And a similar situation is going on with James Mangold and Taika Waititi, as the last projects they both created were met with not great receptions from the audiences. So for Taika, that is Thor 4, Thor Love and Thunder, which was not met well with audiences at all. Too many jokes, not enough cool story. Like it was. I'm not that big of a hater when it comes to Thor Love and Thunder. I like Thor Ragnarok better, but I do see some. It's not the best movie. It's definitely not the best Marvel movie by any means. But that movie was not met with very loving hands from fans. Well, for James Mangold, that last movie was Indiana Jones 5. A lot of fans not liking that movie either, thinking it was just sort of a money grab, all this other stuff. So both these directors, who are both good directors, I mean, Taika Waititi, although he made Thor Love and Thunder, also made Thor Ragnarok. He's also directed many episodes of The Mandalorian. Very good episodes of The Mandalorian, I might add. And of course, James Mangold. I mean, Logan, Ford versus Ferrari. The guy, I mean, he's a master at what he does. So I honestly think that this being indefinitely on hold, and the fact that we haven't heard anything about James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie since it got announced over a year ago, I think the reason for that is because of the audiences. They're trying to let this sort of cool down. Thor Love and Thunder came out a year ago? 2 years ago? A year ago, I think, right? Yeah, a year ago? A year and a half, something like that. Came out a year ago. Indiana Jones 5 came out a year and a half ago as well. So I think, honestly, what they're trying to do here is just let fans cool off. And then, when maybe these directors come back to reality here, come back to, oh, wait, he did give us Thor Ragnarok. Oh, wait, he did give us Logan, one of the greatest Marvel movies of all time. Then maybe they'll give us another announcement on those projects, get us back on the good side of these two creators. Do I think we'll ever see the Taika Waititi movie? I don't know. I really don't. I think it's way more likely we see the Dawn of the Jedi movie. I think Dawn of the Jedi is like definitively going to happen with James Mangold. But tell me, chat, do you think this Taika Waititi Star Wars film will ever actually happen? What do we think, chat? Do you think it will happen? Ever? Actually, let's pull this up in the chat, shall we? Let's pull this up in the chat, shall we? Let's end this last poll and let's start up a new one. Logan isn't a Marvel movie. Well, yeah, yes and no. It's a Marvel movie 100%, but it's not a MCU Marvel movie. Indeed. And by the way, do you guys want a Rey movie? 62% of you said yes, The math is not mathing. But 37% of you said no. Interesting. We'll see if that changes when more and more comes out. Here's the thing. The Rey movie is going to have some stuff leaked out. We're going to have to know about the plot. We're going to have to know who the villain is. We're going to have to see a trailer very early on to get people excited. Like, if it's going to come out in December of 2026, then in June of 2026, we're going to have to get an insane trailer that gets people so hyped up right after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie hopefully succeeds in the movie theater. Then we need people to be excited for the Rey movie, and that's going to lead to a lot, you know? All right. Do you think the Taika, I always spell Taika's name wrong, so let's try it. Taika Waititi Star Wars movie will ever be made? Yes or no? What do we think? What do we think? I spelled it right. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. What do we think, chat? Brandon says, I trust James Mangold more. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think Mangold just has a better sort of discography behind him than Taika does, even though I do love that Thor Ragnarok quite a bit, you know? Interesting. Right off the bat, 62% of you guys say no. You don't think this Taika Waititi movie will be made. And honestly, I'm going to have to agree with you. Here's the thing. Star Wars Celebration, they march out 3 people on stage. And those 3 people are James Mangold, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, and Dave Filoni to announce 3 movies. A Dave Filoni Mandoverse movie, a Rey movie, and a Dawn of the Jedi movie. No announcement on Taika Waititi's movie at last year's Star Wars Celebration. And since it was announced over 5 years ago, there haven't been any announcements that have been good news when it comes to this movie. So I don't know what Taika's up to now. I don't know if he's currently directing anything else. I don't know what his schedule looks like. But right now, it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting it anytime soon. And if we were to get a Taika Waititi movie, if it does exist and it does happen, it won't be at least until 2029 or 2030 or 2031. When you think about it realistically, if The Mandalorian is going to get a trilogy like it should, if The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be the first movie of a trilogy like it should, then that first movie will be 2026, the second movie will be in 2028, and the third movie will be in 2030. And in between, you have the Rey movie, also in 2026. You'll have the Dawn of the Jedi movie in 2027, and you'll probably have some other movie in 2029. Yeah. 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 Catherine, what's up? Lightwood, what's up? I loved Ahsoka, and I hope they make more seasons of it. Well, Ahsoka Season 2 is already greenlit. You will be getting a second season of Ahsoka. Probably not till 2026, though, which is the bad news, but it's still happening. That's for sure. Lobo, what's up, says, Thor Love and Thunder had a ton of editing done to it in its original runtime. Was well over 3 hours. It may have been a masterpiece if left intact. That's always a possibility when it comes to certain projects, like director's cuts type deal. Like you look at the Snyder cut when it comes to the Justice League and stuff like that. It's a possibility. I mean, Taika is a good director. I think they just kind of went too goofy on that movie. Like Thor Ragnarok is like the perfect level of goofiness while also being an awesome action movie, while also telling a good story with a good bad guy, with Hela. Thor Love and Thunder had a good bad guy. Christian Bale, of course, bringing in him as Gore. It's good. They just, I think, went too silly. The screaming goats were funny. I laughed quite a bit. But I think they went a little bit too silly with the whole Russell Crowe stuff as Zeus and all that other stuff. I don't know. I'm not a big hater of the movie. That's for sure. I would watch it again. I do watch it if I were to do a watch through of the MCU. But yeah, it didn't go bode well with audiences. Yeah. Annie K says, and when Ahsoka was introduced, some fans were annoyed by her for being a child. It took time for fans to accept her. That's true. Well, she did get. I think that was on purpose. She was introduced as an annoying little child. She's very whiny, and it's very similar to Luke in A New Hope, or very similar to Anakin. They're whiny, and they go on this character. It's character development, and it's a very good one. If you look at Ahsoka season 1 of Clone Wars versus Ahsoka in her own show, the amount of words per second is probably a lot lower. Yeah, she talks faster. She's more whiny, and now she's more stoic and more Jedi mastery, even though she is no Jedi. Yeah. Skywalker Academy says highly opinionated people aren't going to cool off. They don't forget. They hold grudges for a long, long time. Oh yeah, I'm not sitting here saying that the people who didn't like the sequel trilogy are going to forget that they didn't like the sequel trilogy and are going to love the Rey movie. That's just not going to happen. I'm more so saying that the Rey movie has the possibility to sway more open-minded Star Wars fans to liking these characters, or at least to helping like the characters and liking the sequel trilogy even at the same time. Yeah. That is true. Don't even bother watching the new Indiana Jones. You didn't even bother? Me either. I haven't even seen it yet. I have heard some people say that it's pretty good, but I have not heard many good things. Yeah. Yeah. There was a new Indiana Jones after Crystal Skull? Yeah, it was last year. Indiana Jones 5. You missed it. You missed it. I think these movies are just in limbo. Taika's specifically, yeah. I mean, I don't think James Mangold's is, as his was announced last year, but Taika's is definitely in this weird limbo of will it ever get made type deal, you know? Yeah. I think the Rey character could be a good one and can be saved. I agree with that. I actually think the Rey character introduced in The Force Awakens is a really, really good one. It's The Last Jedi and then The Rise of Skywalker kind of just switching back and forth on her character development that kind of makes me not like the character as much, because she's a nobody in the Last Jedi, which I wasn't really a fan of. I wanted her to be a Kenobi or a Skywalker somehow, or even a Palpatine, which was cool. But when she was a nobody, it was like, what are we doing? You know? What are we doing? You set up the possibility of when she touches Anakin's lightsaber, hearing Obi-Wan say, these are your first steps, getting flashbacks to seeing Vader and Luke Skywalker. Like, there's some connection there, or at least you thought there was some connection there. And then they said she was a nobody, and then fast forward to Rise of Skywalker, and she's a Palpatine, and you're like, wait, what? Hold up. What a second. What? Wasn't she a nobody a second ago? So, yeah, only if they kind of had a plan from the beginning for that character, I think it would have been better. But I think, yes, Stacey Ridley's a great actress, and the possibilities for that character are endless. I think we've only scratched the surface of that character's development arc, you know? It takes time to develop a character, some more than others. Some take 7 seasons of a Clone Wars show, or some just take 1 movie, you know? Mystic Troll says, what if Taika does an Old Republic Sith movie called What We Do in the Shadows, following the exploits of ancient Sith lore? Sith Lord, sorry. No. Okay, sorry. Thomas says, I don't want another Rey movie. I love Star Wars, but definitely need new characters. Well, the Rey movie has the ability to introduce all brand new characters. A brand new cast of Jedi, actually, with a brand new Jedi Order. So if you want new characters, that's the place you're going to get it. I have high hopes for Ahsoka Season 2. Honestly, just a shame about Rey. Yeah, obviously Ray Stevenson sadly passing away, not getting to see him play Baylan Skoll anymore. The rumor is that they're recasting the character, which seems to be the appropriate move. I don't know. I'm very excited for Ahsoka season 2. I mean, I've been very vocal about how much I love the first season of Ahsoka, and it's my favorite show by far. But yeah, it's gonna be tough to go out without Ray Stevenson, you know? Yeah, no? Ian says, the announcement fatigue is real for me. Unless we're seeing set photos, I don't believe it'll happen. Well, I agree with you, Ian, because so many projects have been delayed or sort of never happened. It's still the majority of them do. When you look at projects that have been announced in the past, which is all the projects we've seen to date, Ahsoka happened, Mando happened, Acolyte like all these things we've seen before, they happened. Yes, some of them didn't make it, but those are for different reasons. The Rangers of the New Republic is because of Cara Dune's or Gina Carano's firing. She was fired, and she was going to be the main character of that show, so they got rid of it. That makes sense. It's sort of the movie side of things with Rogue Squadron, and the Taika movie and the Kevin Feige movie. But even those, like the Kevin Feige movie, the Sean Levy movie, those weren't ever officially announced by Lucasfilm. You know? So it's more so on me. It's more so on the trades, so to speak, that are giving out all these rumors or reports of projects that exist that don't actually exist, you know? You know? John says, but I love every minute. I love every minute. I was in Germany. Best 3 weeks of my life, if I'm honest. You were in Germany? That's epic. That's epic. Mangold made the last Indiana Jones movie. Question mark. No Mangold. Thank you. Yes, he made the last Indiana Jones movie. Again, I still haven't seen it. I've heard the people didn't like it, but he still has one of the greatest. He's still one of the greatest directors in Hollywood right now. Obviously, you have your mountaintop people like your Tarantinos, your Christopher Nolans, but he's sort of on that tier below them. He's that good. Let's look up his James Mangold. I didn't even know he did the the more you know. The two movies for me, I mean, Ford versus Ferrari might be one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. So if you haven't seen that movie, I could not recommend it more. And of course, he did Logan, which is just incredible. He did a Tom Cruise movie from the early 2000s. I never saw it, but yeah. Oh, he's been doing movies for a lot longer than I thought. 1995? Sylvester Stallone. What is this? Either way, I honestly don't think Indiana Jones was his fault. I didn't watch it, obviously, but from what we hear, it was kind of a behind-the-scenes type deal. Obviously, a lot of that fault is thrown onto the director, but you know. I'll be the Force Ghost standing in the back of the theaters watching all these Star Wars movies after I'm dead. Oh my God. Well, hopefully you won't be. Jeez. You know? Lobo says, I would love to see a Star Wars series from Taika Waititi instead of a movie. Yeah, I mean, Taika did a great job directing the episodes of The Mandalorian that he did. So why not just continue to have him doing that? I don't know what Taika's up to nowadays. I don't know if he's currently working on some project that I don't know of. But he did a great job on The Mandalorian. He's even the voice of IG 88. IG 11? IG 11. Yeah, IG 11. Mike, I meant to vote no on the Taika Waititi movie, but I accidentally pressed yes. Okay. I'll take that into account. Damn it, where did that just go? Oh, there we go. Dr. Necro says Ray movie ain't happening in 2026 if they don't get something going by this year. Absolutely not. That's just not the case at all. Like, this movie was never going to film this year because the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is filming right now. The Ray movie has plenty of time, and we already, did the math and everything. Yeah. Inklet, me too. Inklet says, I want to have a cookout with all you guys. Yeah. Well, still the plan is to get all you guys to come to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, rent out a theater, and watch it together, but it's just a dream of mine. Can we get some good customary orders in the chat, please? God. Bumba. So if you guys are keeping track, if you guys are keeping watch, we did hit 89,000 subscribers. 89,000 subscribers yesterday or this morning or something like that. We are almost at 90, which is absolutely insane. And, of course, at 100, I'll be dumping this entire cup of water on my head. I made this promise a long time ago. It's getting a lot closer, and I'm regretting my decisions. But I'm a man of my word, and I will stand by it. So this will be dumped on my head at 100K. We're almost there. But we got to celebrate everyone at a time. So 89,000 is absolutely insane. I cannot appreciate you guys enough for that. Hitting that subscribe helps out the channel drastically. So does smashing a like on every stream, of course. So if you haven't yet, do that. And, of course, Super Chats, memberships, the whole deal. But we're almost there. We're almost to the big 9-0, and then we're almost to the big silver plaque, which is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, Mangold has more sauce in his films, and he knows how to keep a tone well. Yeah, he's just a good director. And having him come to a Star Wars film, especially one of like Dawn of the Jedi, could be really, really good. The difference between Rey and Ahsoka is the character development. Rey didn't really have any. Yeah. I mean, when you look at Rey from the beginning of The Force Awakens to where she ends up at the end of Rise of Skywalker, she's become a Jedi. She's trained in the ways of the Jedi. But her arc isn't really that drastic of one. I guess when it is, but it isn't. When you're looking at it side by side with a character arc like Ahsoka, it's almost incomparable. So, yes and no. I think Rey's story, honestly, is just getting started. That's why I think the Rey movie has a lot of possibilities. To get to see where she is 15 years later, but also see her as a Jedi Master, see her in that time period of like middle life-ish. It'd be like seeing Ahsoka in Rebels, kind of, you know? Yeah, no? Indy 5 is way better than Indy 4? Maybe I'll have to watch it then. Maybe I'll just have to watch it. The last Indiana Jones was just a walk down memory lane at best. Well, that seems to be what a lot of just movies are nowadays. They're sequels to movies from a long time ago. They're just a money grab. They're just a money grab. You know? Dead Mike says, when's the giveaway, bro? I want some free stuff. That's a great way to ask it. The giveaway, I believe, is Saturday's stream. Today's the 24th. So it would be Saturday stream, right? Or Tuesday stream. Is there 31 days in September? If there's 31 days, then it's Saturday or Tuesday stream. But if it's not, then it's Saturday stream. Tony's in the chat. What's up, Tony? There's only 3 Indiana Jones movies. The last 2 are fan fictions. There you go. Yeah. I thought her being a nobody was fine. It subverted the original trilogy where Anakin was the chosen one and now has a message that everybody could become greatness from nothing. Yeah, that does kind of make sense. I liked her being a Palpatine. I liked that reveal, but it just would have been better if it was done better, you know, if it wasn't just kind of only in the last film. JC, what's up? Mace Cameron, how we doing? Yeah. Mr. Beckham in the house. Oh my God, everybody's just showing up now. You're all late. You know what? You all get tardies on the sign-in list. Yeah. Yeah. I think Rey is just very bland. It has almost no character development in 8 and 9, and she's almost just a plot point used to get to the ending. Yes and no. Obviously, the character development in the sequel trilogy for her specifically is not the greatest, we'll put it that way. Again, I think still, if she was a Palpatine from the beginning, which, in hindsight, she was, but if that was planned from the beginning, I think it could have been executed a little bit better. But getting to see more of her story hopefully can't hurt. Hopefully could make it a lot better moving forward, you know? History always repeats itself because people refuse to learn from the past. That's true. I guess that's sort of the message of The Force Awakens, you know? Yeah, no? Just be glad we don't hear about the projects that make it past a pitch but never got announced. There's probably dozens of those. Oh yeah, there's probably hundreds of thousands of pitches that are pitched to not George Lucas, pitched to Dave Filoni, pitched to Kathleen Kennedy all day long. The ones that we get announced are ones that they actually intend on creating. Just one reason or another, they don't actually happen. You know? Just do a KOTOR era trilogy and move off the Rey stuff. More safer, and we'll get the fan base excited. I don't disagree that a KOTOR trilogy or anything really in the Old Republic wouldn't just excite the fandom insanely. But think about it this way. Yes, a lot of fans, hardcore fans will put it, want that KOTOR stuff. But the normie fans have no idea what that is. So I honestly think the best route to go with this, introducing the Old Republic, is with the Dawn of the Jedi, is with James Mangold. Because now you can introduce this era of the Dawn of the Jedi and go into the Old Republic with fans already sort of knowing what happened before. Explaining what happened before, how the Jedi and Sith came to be, all that stuff first, and then going into this Old Republic stuff that the hardcore fans will already know. We know characters that hundreds of thousands of characters that already exist in that time period. But for the normie fans, it'll be more easy to get into if they already have the stuff that came before. You know? Yeah. Oh, just go down to the bottom. Are you kidding me? No, I've not done any impressions yet today, Tony. I haven't. But I appreciate you. Let's meet up for the Mando movie. Great idea. It is a great idea. We definitely will. Again, it's not for another year and a half or almost 2 years or whatever it is. Two-ish years. And hopefully we'll have enough people so that we can sell it a whole place. But I want to watch the Mandalorian Grogu movie. I want to see Star Wars back on the big screen with actual Star Wars fans that are there. I mean, not, you know what I mean. Star Wars fans who are going to appreciate it. Not people who are going to be talking through the movie, chewing their popcorn like idiots, using the straw like a clown. I don't want that. I want Star Wars fans who are going to respect the film in front of them. Yeah. Yeah. There's 30 days? Okay, so then Saturday is going to be our giveaway. Yeah. Yeah. Mike said for 100 he'll pour a cup of blue milk on his head. Do it. I did say that, didn't I? Son of a bitch. Okay, here's the deal. I will do that. I will. You guys are going to do that, aren't you? All right, I'll have to go get blue milk then. Maybe you won't, though. Maybe you won't. Maybe you won't. By the way, it's almost 70% of you guys don't think that the Taika's movie will be made. And I agree with you, but that's just crazy. Yeah. I just woke up. What year is this? 2030, I think? No, I don't know. JC, what's up? Says, hey, Mike, don't forget to watch The Fifth Element. I think you'll really like it. Damn it, I got to write these things down. Fifth Element. See, if I don't write it down and then circle it like 10 times on my paper, I won't remember. So I just see Fifth Element. Okay. Where was I? Scarif Scuttlebutt Podcast, great name, by the way, says, I'm glad they're keeping Taika away from the franchise. I don't know. I mean, obviously they're probably waiting for him to cool down over this whole Thor Love and Thunder thing, but when he was with the franchise, with The Mandalorian, he was great. Mace, what's up, says, I've been here for 30 minutes, just not saying anything yet. Well, I appreciate you. Yeah. Story development messed all the right movies up. They rely too heavily on CGI in the big battle scenes rather than a well-crafted storyline. Yeah, I mean, the sequel trilogy in particular has these incredible scenes of awesome space fights and lightsaber duels. The choreography wasn't as good as the prequel trilogy or the original trilogy. The storytelling wasn't as good. I think it just should have been a better planned thing and better executed thing. The problem is you had Rogue One come out at the same time as these movies, and you have a choreographer in Christopher, what's his name? The guy who did the Acolyte stuff, did the Rogue One Vader hallway scene. What the hell? Christopher something or something Christopher. I forget. But he did all the choreography for the hallway scene for Vader, which came out in the middle of the sequel trilogy. So you had a guy who was that good at doing choreography, and yet you still had the lightsaber duels in the sequel trilogy that weren't to the level of what they could have been. You know? Yeah, no? Okay. UV Clips, what's up? What is up? Has anybody seen the Penguin show yet? Off of the Robert Pattinson's Batman universe? I've not watched it yet. I have seen it's getting pretty good reviews, though. And I've seen a lot of people really, really like it. I liked the Batman, Robert Pattinson Batman movie. I did. I don't know if I'm going to watch this Penguin show, but I don't know. Maybe. Mace Cameron says, where are we meeting for the Mando movie? Might be a bit difficult for me, coming from the UK. Well, it'll probably be in and around the Boston area. Because that's where I'm kind of around. Maybe some of you would have to catch a flight or something. Where's everybody tuning in from? America? Where's everybody tuning in from? Mike, I'm with you. I hate when people in the cinemas behave badly. It's really annoying. I went to see Deadpool and Wolverine twice. First time was great. Everybody was fantastic. Second time, I had this one lady who was laughing the entire movie. And I get the movie was funny, but, I mean, it wasn't that funny. And then there was a guy behind me playing with his straw, like literally like the clown noise where it's like, doot, 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 doot. Like it was the whole movie. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? I'm trying to watch a movie here. You know? You know? Great. Tony's giving me a warning about the blue milk. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thomas says, my opinion, why don't Disney and all the writers, work together to create a quality trilogy? Well, I think they learned their lesson quite a bit, actually, with the sequel trilogy. And whether you like the sequel trilogy or not doesn't really matter. They learned their lesson from that. And with the High Republic stuff, they got a whole team together, worked on it for like 5 some odd years, and created a great story that's cohesive and a through line through all these different characters and stuff. I think they've learned their lesson from that. Now you see Dave Filoni's in charge of pretty much every project that comes out. He's got through line through everything. Stuff like the Bad Batch is connected to The Mandalorian. Stuff like the Clone Wars and Rebels is connected to the live action content. It's more of a connective universe and a more of a well thought out story type deal. So when the next trilogy does come along, hopefully it will have that planning to it, you know? Yeah, now? Yeah, it's on HBO, The Penguin Show. It's really good. if you've seen Sopranos, it's like that, but for DC. Okay, now, if you're saying it's like Sopranos, then I'm going to have to watch it. It's like Sopranos? All right, I have to watch it now. Lee, what's up? What is up? It's good to have you here, Lee. Time for an impression, guys? Yeah, it is. I think it's time. Alex, what's up? Hello there.
Hello there.
Christopher Nolan. What about Christopher Nolan? We'll settle for chocolate milk. No, is the blue milk actually still even on sale? I know it was in like Targets and Walmarts or whatever. You know? That Vader hallway scene was inserted last minute, so it was an achievement in and of itself that it turned out good. I have heard about Rogue One's sort of production problems. Rogue One went through the ringer kind of and was a last-minute success. Like it wasn't always going to be that good. And the fact that it turned out that good was sort of a last-minute thing, that's for sure. Yeah. Watch Office Space, bro. Office Space? Kind of sounds familiar. Office Space. Oh, yeah. I don't think I've seen this whole movie through, but I have seen parts of it just on... Yeah, that's why it sounded familiar. I have gotten that recommendation before. Indeed. Oh, Lee with a very generous $5 holla. God damn. Says, hey, Mike. Love you, dude. Well, I appreciate that. Love you right back. I think I've missed your reattempt of tell that to Kanji Club line. If we can get your best Wookiee fighting a Wampa. Wookiee fighting a Wampa. I can try my best. Let's find a Wampa impression first. Because you know my Wookiee is spot on. Let's be real, chat. We know that. Wampa noises. Let's hear it. Wampa noises. Perfect. Okay. A 5-minute video of Wampa noises. Sounds like a dying pig. I request a different video. Hang on. Sounds like I don't even know, a lion eating something? I don't know. Maybe I should have paid more attention to what the Wampa sounds like in Star Wars. Okay, let's try it. Conversation between a Wampa and a Wookiee. Here we go. Well, first let's get my Wampa impression down, shall we? No. Hang on. Let's go back to that other video. I liked it better, actually. See, that ending is the... But there's like a pig sound before it. How am I supposed to recreate that? That's just going to be my Wampa, okay? Just deal with it. All right, here we go. I bet you want to know what that conversation was about, don't you? I bet you're dying to know what they were just talking about. Huh? Wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to know? Well, I'll tell you. The Wookiee said, guys, let's not make Mike dump a cup of blue milk on his head. That'll make him all sticky and gross. And then the Wampa said, no, guys, do it. And then the Wookiee was like, no, let's be nice to Mike. And then the Wampa was like, okay, yeah, let's be nice to Mike. Let's not make him dump a blue cup of milk water on his head. Ah!
I got a bad feeling about this.
You know? Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But I appreciate it, Lee. I really, really do. Super chats are very, very kind, generous, and appreciated. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Where was I? What? I don't even know what that means. Okay, there's that's where I was. Oh, okay. Utah, nice. The UK, LA, New York, East Coast, Germany, LA. George Lucas, California, nice. There's a Boston in the UK. There you go. Just go there. There you go. Upstate New York, UK, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Burlington, New York. Nice. Nice. Dang, that's crazy. That's crazy. Baltimore? That's wild. Nice. Okay. I was born in Bespin? On Bespin? That's crazy. Must have been a crazy life. Must have been. Must have been. Get white milk and blue-green food coloring. That might be the play. That might be what has to go down. Because I don't know if they sell that blue milk anymore. You know? No Catwoman in the Penguin for me, so no. I really like Catwoman. There's no Catwoman in the... Wait, who is even in this show? Batman's not in it? It's just about the Penguin? Yeah, I know. Well, if you're taking suggestions, The Black Hole was Disney's first PG-rated movie in 1979. Saw it in the theaters. What? The Black Hole? I've never even heard of it. Let's look it up. The Black Hole. Disney. The Black Hole. Huh. It's a sci-fi looking thing. The more you know. It is on Disney Plus. Oh, it is on Disney Plus. There you go. You can go watch it right now. There you go. Hondo and Skeleton Crew? I hope so. That'd be nice. That would be nice. The pirate with snakes on his face? What the hell does that mean? The hell does that mean? Ian says, anyone who just clicked on the stream would be confused. That would be that's like the dream, you know? Or not the dream, but you know, it's the goal, I should say. When I'm doing a crazy Wookiee impression, if somebody clicked on the stream at that point, never even knew who I was, never seen a stream before, and they just go, oh, a guy who loves Star Wars, let's check that out. Well, oh, we're talking Rey news? That sounds cool. Let's check that out. And then it's just me screaming like a Wookiee for like 20 seconds. At what point do they reconsider their lives, you know? Reconsider their decisions they've ever made? At what point do they go look in a mirror and say, what have I done? What have I done? And then they slaughter some younglings, you know? You know? I'm currently looking to go to D23 in Japan. This is Star Wars Celebration, you mean? Who's going and doesn't have any tips? Or does anyone have any tips? Scotland, too. That's cool. Yeah, I don't think I'm going. It's too damn crazy to get there, and I feel like it's better for me just to cover it here. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Is anybody in chat going to Star Wars Celebration next year in Japan? What do we think? What do we think? Are we missing I Haja tonight? Yeah, I don't think she's here. Star Wars Santa, what's up? Says, I'm 103 minutes late. Sheesh. Work is no fun. Well, at least you made it, Santa. At least you made it. At least you made it. Fearless isn't here either. What the hell? What's going on today? I need that Wampa conversation for shorts. Oh, you need that Wampa conversation for shorts? Okay. There you go. You need to make your streams back on Mondays. Oh, talking to Santa. I was going to say, what? My streams have never been on Mondays. Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about the Rey movie. Is there any other Star Wars news we got to get to here, chat? Is there anything you guys want to talk about Star Wars-wise? We talked about the Rey stuff. Well, there is this Battle of Jakku stuff going on in the comics that they're talking about. The Battle of Jakku is kind of coming out right now for comic-wise. And sort of a trilogy of comics. Looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. Let's see. What is this? Skeleton Crew could be the series we need. That'd be epic. Oh. I love getting clickbaited like that, you know? I really enjoyed your what if video. I appreciate that. Yeah, so the what if video, if you guys haven't seen that yet, give me a 1 into the chat if you've seen the what if video that I posted on Sunday. That what if video is performing extremely well, a lot better than I thought it was actually. So I appreciate that from all you guys for watching it. It was a lot of fun to make, we'll put it that way. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's what if Leia made it to Obi-Wan on Tatooine in A New Hope. And it's how the story plays out after that. It was pretty fun to make, if I do say so myself. I'm already deep into the next one I'm making. I'm hoping to make it like a every Sunday type deal. I feel like Sunday's a good day, maybe Fridays, but I think Sunday's probably a better day. People are usually doing stuff on Fridays, you know? So I think Sundays was a good play. The next one, should I give you guys a sneak peek on the next one? So obviously that one was what if Leia did that whole thing, and it was pretty damn cool, if I do say so myself. And it was my first sort of attempt at a real sort of what if type deal. It took a lot of editing and all that stuff. I thought it was a lot of fun. We'll put it that way. And I think the next one's gonna be even better. But let me show you guys this. Let me show you what I'm working on right now. Shall we? Oh, Darth Raccoon with a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate that. Says, I am here again. I want to hear Hondo's hostage quote? Hondo hostage quote. Salty Texas Ranger, what's up? Von Gogh says, Sundays we go to church and watch football. That's true, but yeah, I guess. Gorian Char was supposed to be in Skeleton Crew. That's the guy with the snakes on his face. Oh, I get you. But he dies in The Mandalorian Season 3. Yeah, no? You may not have seen my question about the movie Fanboys. Do you include that in your Star Wars marathon? Fanboys? What? No? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Pam, what's up? Starship 66, what is up? Yes, I want more. Yeah, so some people were talking about a part 2 for that Leia what if. I think I'm just going to move on. I like leaving the story open-ended for your own interpretations. Maybe someday I'll go back and make a part 2, but for now we're going to move on to the next one. But I want to know, Raccoon, what is the... Oh, okay. As my sweet mother said, son, I have one Oh, if one hostage is good, two is better. And three, well, that's good business. Okay. Let me look that up for you. Hondo Unaka. Hostage quote, I guess. Let's see. Let's see if that comes up.
As my sweet mother always said, son, if one hostage is good, two are better. And three, well, that's just good business.
Okay, let me listen to it one more time. One more time.
My sweet mother always said, son, if one hostage is good, two are better. And three, well, that's just good business.
Hang on, I didn't listen that time. I apologize.
Sweet mother always said, son, if one hostage is good, two are better. And three, well, that's just good business.
Okay, let's try that then, shall we? Let's try that. Hang on, I could channel my inner Honda. Well, my friend. Well, my friend. Hang on, I gotta listen to it again.
Always said, son, if one hostage is good,
if one hostage
two
is
are
good,
better.
two are better. All right, I think I got it. As my sweet mother once said, son, if one hostage is good, two are better, and three, well, that's just good business. It's all right, okay? My Honda's a work in progress, okay? Okay. But I appreciate it, Darth Raccoon. I really, really do. That was very, very nice. Star Wars Facts, what's up? Whoops.
Hello there.
I didn't let him say it. Okay. I smell profits, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's do... Where was I? What were we just going to look at? Schnikes. I forget. What were we just going to do before? Oh, sneak peek. Yeah. Give you guys a sneak peek of this. Okay. Let's take a... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. That's what I meant to do. All right, here's your sneak peek at the next What If that will hopefully come out on Sunday. Again, I'm going to have to work my ass off. Yeah, so I appreciate it. As Lee said in the chat, said, congrats on getting your What If done. You worked your ass off to get that done. Yeah, so on Saturday, I probably worked, after a live stream, I worked for probably like 5 straight hours to get that What If done. And it came out fantastic. It came out just the way I wanted it to, which is great. But it took me quite some time. So I'm trying to get some more done earlier in the week here so that I'm not going to have to do that again on Saturday, but we'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sneak peek it is. Sneak peek it is. Better than my Wampa? Damn. Here you go. What if Darth Maul killed Palpatine? So obviously there's an infamous fight of Darth Maul versus Darth Maul and his brother, Savage Opress, versus Palpatine. That happens in the Clone Wars Season 5. Well, Maul and his brother have just sort of claimed Mandalore with the Darksaber, and right after they just killed Satine. By the way, I'm rewatching this episode. I believe it's Season 5, Episode 16. That might be the best episode, single episode of the Clone Wars. It's not only Obi-Wan coming to Mandalore, trying to escape with Satine, but it's Satine dying to Maul, Maul being badass as ever, taking over Mandalore, and then as Obi-Wan's being imprisoned, Bo-Katan saves him, and while that's happening, Palpatine shows up by himself with 2 lightsabers, slice and dices his brother Savage, and beats Maul, capturing him and imprisoning him. He says he has other plans for him, which, by the way, we never get to see what those plans are. at least in the Clone Wars. But we see Bo-Katan free Obi-Wan, and then they escape, or at least Obi-Wan escapes. That single episode is so damn good. So damn good. So the what if scenario here is if, yes, Palpatine still kills his brother, but as he kills his brother, Maul gets the upper hand and kills Palpatine. How does the galaxy get affected by that? They're in a full galactic-wide war right now called the Clone Wars, and the leader of both sides, because he's the leader of the Separatists and Count Dooku, and he's the leader of the Republic as the Chancellor. So how does that affect the war and the galaxy? Because now the leader is gone. And will Maul fill that role? And now you have sort of three different parties. You have the Jedi and the Republic, you have the Separatists, and now you have Maul and his Shadow Council, or Shadow Collective, with the Underworld and his Maul-Delorians. So it's I'm writing it right now. I'm already 5 pages into the script, and I'm loving it. It's so good. You're going to get to see Maul versus Dooku. You're going to get to see the Jedi discover, just a little bit of spoilers here, the Jedi discover Palpatine was a Sith Lord after he already died, and how they do that. Won't give too much away there, because it's pretty cool. And yeah, then you'll get to see a showdown. A nice showdown. So hopefully I can get this out by Sunday. That's the goal, at least, but that's your sneak peek on the next What If on the channel, and that is what if Darth Maul killed Palpatine when they fight on Mandalore in Season 5 of the Clone Wars. So, yeah. Yeah. Dooku wins. Oh, you'll find out. You will see. Yeah. Brandon Tran, what's up? Says if Taika Waititi makes a Star Wars movie, then I hope it has a good plot, because Thor: Love and Thunder was mid. Yeah. I love it when people are this excited about writing. I remember when I was like that. Yeah, I didn't understand. By the way, I'm going to end this poll. I didn't understand how, like, obviously I write some scripts for videos that I make. But most of it's kind of just me spitballing and me improvising. But writing a script for a what if, like an actual story off of Star Wars. Obviously, I'm not creating any new characters here. I'm not creating a new story. Well, I am creating a new story, but I'm not creating a new universe like George Lucas did. But I'm taking that universe, giving it a twist into a what if series, and writing a story based off of these characters that already pre-exist, and telling it from there. What would these characters do if this happened? If Palpatine dies, what does Dooku do? What does the Jedi do? What does Maul do? And I go from there, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay. No. Okay, I'm going to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate every last one of you so much more than you will ever know. Oh, by the way, shout out to Thomas for the 2-month membership. Appreciate it, Thomas. Shout out to Darth Raccoonart for the $2 holla. Lee for the very generous super chat. And Darth Plagueis Lives for the very generous super chats. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys so much more than you will ever know. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not yet. How many likes do we have? How many likes do we have? How many likes do we have? Okay, that's a pretty good amount of likes. Well, smash a like if you have not yet. Hit that subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. I'll show up the recommended feed of yours. And watch out for a video hopefully tomorrow, but obviously a short later on tonight. And I appreciate you. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to get on out of here. You guys are the absolute best. And may the force be with you. Always. Oh yeah, what a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate every last one of you so much more than you will ever know. And Mr. Beckham, yes, live stream on Saturday, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for the rest of your lives. And yes, Lee, I do need to pee. But I appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.